The difference between a prenup and a postnup is that a prenuptial agreement is created and signed off on before you get married. Ideally, a certain amount of time before you get married, not the day before, not the week before. Ideally, you do it enough time before so there's no indication that anybody's being pressured, and you have the opportunity to both consult lawyers to make sure you understand what you're signing. A postnup, on the other hand, is a document that's signed after you've become married. So you're already married. We are now saying we want to divide our assets in a way that makes sense and works for the two of us. We may not want to create community property, but if you didn't do a prenup before you got married, you can always do a postnup after the fact. I think postnups are a great tool to use, especially when parties are considering divorce, but they really want to work on their relationship. The financial stress, especially when one spouse is not working, doesn't have a lot of resources in their name, and they're scared about what's going to happen to them if they got divorced, by entering into a postnup that levels the playing field and allows both parties to really work on their relationship and take the stress of the money question out of the picture. A postnup can protect your financial future by making it very clear what would happen in your situation if you got divorced. By doing the postnup before you get divorced, hopefully everyone is in agreement and wanting to stay together. There's an incentive to be more fair. Once you get to the point where you are at a divorce situation, now everyone's fighting for what they want, and they're not always looking out for your best interest. You have a lot more leverage when you are considering a postnup to secure that financial future than if you wait until everybody's mad at each other. So if you're married and you're considering whether to enter into a postnuptial agreement, a good time to do that, if you thought about doing it before you got married and you thought about having a prenup and just didn't get around to it, a postnup can be done soon after you get married. I think that's the best time to do it because, again, everybody's still happy. Everyone's looking out for each other's best interests. That's a good time to do a postnup soon after you get married. Now, it may be later that the issue may come up and you decide that you want to enter into a postnuptial agreement. A good time to do that would be if you receive an inheritance and you want to make sure that it's very clear that both parties agree that that inheritance is separate property. Or if you had a personal injury settlement. If you were getting that settlement for your own personal injury, it is your separate property. So in order to make that clear from a legal perspective, you could enter into a postnup agreement at that time, so that if you were to ever divorce in the future, now it's locked down in writing. So a postnup is never going to cover what happens with regard to your kids. It is against public policy in the state of Texas to include any agreement with regard to kids ahead of the game. We don't know what our kids are going to need in the future. We don't know what kind of situation we're going to be in the future. So we can't agree what's going to happen to the kids with regard to custody or child support in advance. That can only be done in a divorce or in a suit affecting parent-child relationship. A postnup can deal with the availability of spousal maintenance. A prenup can also deal with spousal maintenance. You can agree ahead of time, either before marriage and a prenup or after marriage and a postnup, that you will receive spousal maintenance or you will pay your spouse spousal maintenance if you ever get divorced in the future. It's a great way to address that up front before everybody's fighting at a divorce. If you think that you may need spousal maintenance if you get divorced, I recommend getting a postnuptial agreement to document that.